Good evening. My name is Bakri Conte. I'm a citizen of the Gambia and a native of Faraba Banta. Faraba Banta is a small village in the Gambia. It's about 51 kilometers from Banjul, which is the capital of the country. Currently, there is a serious issue at our village which concerns commercial sand mining. The license to do this mining was issued to a private company called Julake Enterprises, and he, in the past few days, was really trying to set up his activities in the village to go ahead with his commercial extraction of sand. And there is a big opposition by the villagers, in particular the VDC, who are the representatives of the village. The VDC is responsible for the development in the village, and in addition to the VDC, we also have the Alcalo, who is the local head of the village. We also have a SEFO, which is the head of the district, and then we also have a governor, who is the head of the administrative region. Apparently, Faraba, interestingly, have an Alcalo, who is a native of the village. We also have a council of elders, who are also natives of the village. We have a SEFO, who also is a native of the village, and also the governor, who is also a native of the village. The concern of the villagers is this: the proposed area where this sand mining is going to happen, it's apparently the buffer between salt water from the river to their swamps, where they, in the rainy season, they will do their rice cultivation, and in the dry season they will do vegetable gardening. Apparently, most part of the village seems to be under sea level, and as such, if you take out that sand, which is the buffer, the seawater is this river actually will getting into the swamps and destroy those rice fields and vegetable gardens. And this is perhaps the main concern why the villagers are saying no. The second concern is, it seems the process for the issuance of these licenses, the villagers are completely cut off. There was no notification given to them, and they don't have any participation. The government, the Department of Geology, from what all accounts, is the issuing licensing authority, and in the process of issuing this license to this private company called Julake Enterprises, seem to have very little, if any, contact with the villagers to seek their opinion. We all know that for any project, especially in relation to land use, there is usually an environmental impact assessment, and the process to have that done usually involves consulting with the local communities to see what their concerns are and see how that could be addressed within the context of the licensing process, to ensure verifications, compliance, and monitoring. And more importantly, this area where the proposed project is to take place is land traditionally owned by the local communities. Some are communal land, some are family or clans own that land, and I think it would be gross injustice to just deprive the community and these families of this land by the state without adequate notice, without adequate compensation. And this seems to be the crux of what is aching the hearts of our people. I had a lot of cries from our women, our children, and the entire village as to how displeased they are as to the licensing process for this particular project. And they have expressed a lot of kind of disappointment in the support they have given to the coalition government and also the UDP in voting in for President Barrow, and also voting in for the UDP member of National Assembly member, and also the UDP council member for Kafuta Ward, which Faraba is part of. And on those grounds, they've already put out their plea to the president in particular, and the UDP party leadership to hear their concerns and find a way to amicably resolve this issue. And on that note, I'll also add my personal plea to His Excellency the President Adama Barrow and the UDP leadership from the Secretary General Mr. Usenu A.N.M. Dabo and all the other party executives and members of the party. We also like to extend our gratitude to the local member of parliament, who is Mr. Konta, and the councillor for Kafuta Ward, Mr. Dabo. And we hope and pray that the government will create a forum where there will be dialogue to listen to the people of Faraba Banta. On one particular note, I will personally appeal also to the Inspector General of Police to look at the role of the police in these fracas. We expect law enforcement to be law-abiding in the first place, and also to be look at the way it carried out its duties. Throughout the world, there is a new claim or a new call for de-escalation. One of the videos I saw was the villages were having their meeting, the VDC trying to inform the villagers about what they got from their meeting with the Inspector General. Apparently the police paramilitary were roaming, coming into the village with their full gear. I don't think that's a good sign. You don't invite confrontation in those kind of situations. So my appeal is to the Inspector General of Police in particular to look at the conduct of the police and to avoid any semblance of bias in support of the government or the private entity Julake against the interests of the Faraba people. I also like to thank all our village compatriots for their effort to exercise their freedom of speech and their right to demand to know what happens in their neck of the wood. We are appealing to the whole world to help join us in putting across our message in terms of, you know, money contributions, in terms of advocacy roles, in terms of in terms of expertise as to how to make sure that our message is put across. The environmental issues in the Gambia is increasingly becoming very alarming, from Gunjur to Katong to Sanyang and now Faraba. And I hope our government listens to the people's concern about the environment and make it a central part of a new government policy, a new national development plan, so that we can have development, but at the same time be cognizant of preservation of our environment. And on that note, I say thank you all for taking time to listen to me. Again, my name is Bakri Conte. I live in Seattle, Washington. I'm a native of Faraba Banta, a citizen of the Gambia, and I totally support my country, and I'm happy to see that my village is reflective of all tribes in the Gambia, from Mandinka to Wolof to Jola to Kasinka to Balanta to Karoninka and Fula and all the rest of our tribes in the Gambia. Thank you very much. Good night.